There was this real moment of I remember and I know who got in the accident, and I didn't understand who got up. My name is Joshua McCune, and my health concern is traumatic brain injury. I was first diagnosed, officially about a year ago. I want to say a year ago. The event happened almost 4 years ago. July 12th of this year will be 4 years. When you first get into a situation like that, what happens is they'll rush you to the hospital and they're concerned with saving your life, right? So it's CAT scans, x-rays, that kind of thing. I had some breaks in my skull, but no massive openings and no brain bleeds or, that kind of thing. And when they see that, they go, okay, head's fine, right? And then they move on to the other trauma because I had broken almost all of my bones, and I lost part of my jaw from here over. That was all just gone. So there were a lot of other things to take care of, and then you spend time recovering, and they just keep checking like your vitals, right? Like how's your heart, you breathing, all that kind of stuff. And they're not really equipped to handle what happens next. Took me through rage and depression, probably the darkest depression that I've ever gone through. And you go to the doctor and you're like, I'm not well, and the first thing they want to give you is antidepressants, right? So it's, but the thing about that is they throw you on an SSRI without consideration of the hormonal effects that are going on inside of your brain because of the damage. So they're, blocking the serotonin, but you need it. So it's kind of a catch-22. They just I don't want to make it sound like the doctors treated me bad, right? Like I don't want to make it sound like they're dumb. They were doing the best they had. This happens to be traumatic brain injury happens to be a realm that isn't very well understood, and there's very few doctors out there who are dedicating their time and efforts to really, truly understand it. And so when you go to a general practitioner, he's just trying to cover the basis of, okay, you have this symptom, I have this pill. You have this going on, I have this to fix it. So it went from that to, I went down the road of natural medicine. I started doing research. I was just, I don't know, I became obsessed with trying to figure out, because I couldn't explain to anybody what was going on. There's no way you can. Even sitting here telling you, like, I felt depression, there's no way I can describe to you what kind of depression it was, right? Because if I talk to somebody who has clinical depression, I don't have the same kind of feelings. It was very hard to get anybody to understand, very hard to, you have these relationships in your life and your short-term memory's gone. So you have conversations with people and it's as if it never happened. It's not like you forgot. It's as if it never happened. I needed orange juice. And so I poured a glass of orange juice, and then I got busy looking for my car keys and I couldn't find my car keys. And I'm like, you know what? Pause. I need orange juice. So I reached up in the cabinet to grab a glass of orange juice, or glass to put orange juice in. And there's this glass full of orange juice in the cabinet. And so my reaction as dad is like, which one of you kids put a full glass of orange juice up in the cabinet? And of course they all deny it, and I get upset. Nothing ever happens around here. It just happens by osmosis, right? And so the kids are upset. I'm upset. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'll dump this out. I'll get a fresh glass. I got a glass. I went to the refrigerator, opened up the refrigerator, and there next to the orange juice are my car keys. And I remember sitting down and just being like, I need help. Like I need help. I'm a barber. I would have motor skill abnormalities, vision abnormalities, insomnia at night, and just like all kinds of whatever you can imagine was going on. And it wasn't until I was actually listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, and he had Dr. Mark Gordon on with another guy from the Warrior Angel Foundation, and they were talking about traumatic brain injury and combat veterans, and the way he described it was spot on with what I was going through. So I contacted them, kind of a Hail Mary, and they reviewed my case and got back to me and started treating me. And that's when I got my first glimpse of hope. What I did to adjust was understanding treatment, right? Like understanding what was going on, because when you don't understand, there's nothing you can do. You just wake up and there are days when you think, wow, I'm a real jerk. I woke up and I'm just mad at the world. I'm a jerk, not understanding that there are hormonal things going on inside your head that are out of your control. And so initially I did, I guess what you would say might be negative adjustments, which was like withdrawing from everybody because I couldn't explain what was going on and they couldn't understand what was going on. So, instead of getting mad or sad or, depressed or whatever, I just kind of went into my own bubble. It's not a broken bone. You're not going to heal in 6 weeks and, be out of the cast and back to normal life. This is now your life. So you can't beat yourself up for it every day. You have to, the biggest adjustment is just grace. It's giving yourself the grace to be who you now are. The treatments that I found helpful were in regards to hormonal balance. Testosterone, in particular, has been incredible. Mine was bottomed out, which is typical with TBI patients. Pregnenolone, DHEA, pregnenolone, the master hormone, vitamin D. My vitamin D was really, really low. And vitamin D is now understood as a hormone, not as a vitamin. So really focusing in on the hormonal aspect of traumatic brain injury, God, if I could shout that from the rooftops, I would. There's so many people who've experienced mild traumatic brain injury or full-on traumatic brain injury or a series of concussions or head bumps, and they're experiencing these things and they don't understand what's going on. And in almost every single case, if not every single case, damage to the brain equates to hormonal imbalance. It's just the way it is. You hit your pituitary gland and boom, you're imbalanced. I'm not on any, powerful medications or anything. I'm taking the external testosterone, but outside of that, it's just stuff you can get at the vitamin shop. Learning how to breathe, learning how to meditate, learning to take time for myself, learning to be okay with the things that are going on. Again, back to the grace element. So it's not just, balance out your hormones, you'll feel great. It's balance out your hormones, and we're going to shoot for the greatest quality of life we can achieve. And with the understanding that some days that's going to be good and some days that's going to be not so good. And you're going to have ups and downs and all kinds of in-betweens, but that's just life. It's strange to some people, but I look at it as a gift. I mean, it was a moment of my life that took me to the edge of death. And as morbid as that sounds, it's brought just a ton of positives. Like I think I was just coursing through life, and just kind of going. And then when that happened, it made me have to pause and take stock of everything. If I've got to go through the rest of this chapter with, fake teeth and a fake jaw and a steel rod in my leg and, you know, regular pain and dealing with the head stuff, you know what, like, it's so much better than where I was, you know, so it's in some odd sense. The advice I would give to people who receive the same diagnosis to me would be to reach out and get help. I never thought that sending an email to a doctor that I heard on Joe Rogan's podcast that I would ever get a response, but I just knew that I needed to send the email, right? So I sent the email and I got a response, and then they reviewed my case and took me on, and now I'm being treated, all from just reaching out. Forgiven the person that hit me. I wish I could find them. They hit me and ran. I wish I could find them and not to punish them, to be like, hey, I'm okay. Like, if you're losing, like, hopefully maybe at some respect you lost a little bit of sleep over the years thinking, did he die? I want you to know I'm okay, and I'm okay with you, and I would absolutely give them a hug, because they ran, and you don't run unless you're scared. And how scared must you be if you think you just killed somebody, right? Like, okay, like, unless they are just a colossal jerk, which they might be, but I still want to hug them and be like, it's okay. Jess from the United Brain Association reached out to me on Instagram, and we just kind of went from there. She just wanted to do a basic interview, and that's what we did. It's been a positive mark in, you know, the journey. I'll support anybody who's doing advocacy, especially for brain injury, and they seem to be doing a really good job at it. I'm no longer trying to recover, because it's recover to what? Who I was before? I don't even like that guy anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like this guy. So I'm not trying to recover who I was. I am who I am, and that changes everything.